Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamer Nation News. My name is Vondu, and I'll be your host for Meet the Streamers. This month's special guest star is Pippen Prime. Everyone, welcome Pippen Prime. What's up, Pippen? How
Hello,
you doing
Vondu.
today, man? You doing all right?
I am doing fantastic. How are
Excellent,
you?
excellent. I'm fantastic too. Thank you for asking. So, what? Why don't you give us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Whatever you want us to know. Just kind of give us whatever you're willing to give.
All right, I'll try to keep it I'll try to make it a little broad. I won't get too much into specifics, but my name is Thomas Pippen Prime Peters. If you guys want to call me that, it's up to you. I am 23 years old. I grew up in a very small town. I don't know what most people consider small is like a couple thousand, but I mean under 1,000 people. Um, I played a lot of sports growing up. I did a lot of outdoor activities like hunting, fishing, hiking, kayaking, pretty much anything under the sun. My favorite thing I would say in terms of like outdoor activity was elk hunting. I would go out to Colorado with my dad and some of my brothers, depending on the year, and we would spend a week in the mountains at like 11,000 to 12,000 feet, depending on where we were at, and we would just wander around, hope we ran into some elk and try to get a shot, which is very very difficult when it comes to that kind of terrain. 'Cause it's all mountains. There's no oxygen. It's pretty brutal on your body. Um, I'll go back to sports real quick. I played golf, basketball, baseball, football, and soccer when I was younger, but that kind of faded out before like middle school area. I started getting into gaming when I was around 12. I didn't have internet at my parents' house. Well, we had internet, but it was really really bad because my parents live in the woods. My dad's a logger, so we decided to build a home out in the middle of nowhere on a hill with a lot of land around it so he could do whatever he wanted on it. Got a lot of trails, and there's a pond. I would go and raft in there. Me and my cousin built a little raft out of cedar logs and some pine boards, and we just floated around and had a good old time.
Had a good time.
But yeah, so I have a lot of outdoor experience for sure. Lot of family. I got a very big family. I got 5 brothers and 1 sister, so family is a really big priority to me. Forgive me
Good.
if I ramble a little bit. I'm kind of
No,
just going
you're
off the
good.
top of
No,
my
you're
head.
good. You're good. You're good. Keep going. And,
Back to gaming real quick. My parents had really bad internet. There's satellite in the middle of the woods, so could not play at home.
oh
Uh,
no.
and when I started getting into gaming, my cousin, which was one of the reasons I got into baseball, because my uncle was like the big baseball diehard. Everybody that he could would get into baseball, and so I would be over at my cousin's house in town. So they lived in town, which actually did have internet. 700 some people, yeah, do have internet. And so we would play Halo, just like offline, just campaign, have a good time, just run around in warthogs and kill stuff. And then a friend of mine who is now practically a brother, because I spent so much time with him when I really started grinding. And after that, we got into Halo a lot. So that's when I started getting into like the comp scene with Halo, because my brother, you want to call him, his name's
Yeah.
Cody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he got into the scene way before me. He had been playing Halo for probably a couple years prior to me meeting him, and he knew a lot of the Halo pros. Like he had an in with some of the big names at the time, which Straight Rippin', Final Boss, Instinct, just a couple of Halo teams to name a few at the time. So he started getting me into like the actual aspect of comp gaming. Like, what do you do when you're trying to go pro, trying to get somewhere, get your name out there, let people know like I'm a gamer, I'm out here, I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
make a name for myself. So I started spending a lot of time at my brother's house. So we would play Halo for hours on the weekend. Like we would
Now,
practically have a LAN set up.
was this on PC or was this on
This is console. This
console?
is back
Okay.
in Xbox 360, and I think that was when I started because I didn't really get into like the Halo 2 Xbox original kind of stuff. That was a little before me. So like 360 was like the first thing I got when it comes to gaming. Like I remember playing Super Nintendo when I was really young, but
Yeah.
that was that
No.
was way back.
Let's all right. So let's stop for a second. So
Already.
you mentioned playing Super Nintendo because I remember playing that myself. But
hmm
you mind me asking how old you are?
23.
23. Okay. So let's go back to when you first started your introduction.
Right.
And your name Pippin. Is there a story behind how you got the Pippin?
Uh, there's a couple stories. My story is that I watch a lot of anime, and one of them was Berserk, and there's a guy in that called Pippin.
Pippin. Okay.
Yep, it's spelled Pippin.
Gotcha.
So I don't know, like, because my name's Thomas Peters, and a lot of people would call me Pipe or Pete.
Yeah.
So I would be like Pete Pipe, and then Pip just kind of came out of
Just
nowhere
kind of
from
came
that, I
out of
think.
it, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Now you said you elk hunting and stuff. So obviously you're from
Mhm.
around Colorado area.
Oh, I'm
Grew
actually
up
from
around
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
would
Gotcha.
drive like a whole day just to get out to Colorado for that week.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So you said all right. So you started out playing on console
Yep, yep.
mostly. About what age or what time did you start moving over to the PC?
My freshman year of college is when I got my first PC.
Okay.
And I had played on PC prior, but it was like my brother's PC kind of thing. So I would just like, when he was sleeping or whatever, because like I said, I was always over there gaming, doing something. And I think, I'm trying to think what game I would have played first on PC. I think it was Phantasy Star Online 2, PSO2. That was like the first game that I really like dove into hard besides Halo
So do
on
you
PC.
have favorite game genres? Like, would it be FPS or MMOs or
Definitely FPS, because I played
FPS?
so many shooter games over the course of my career gaming, I guess. Mainly FPS. Like I said, I played PSO2. That's more like grinding out levels, getting gear, all that good stuff.
Gotcha. How long now? Have you? How long have you used the Pippin Prime gamer tag?
It's actually not that old. I want to say maybe 2 years
Two
compared to
years.
how long I've been actually gaming. Because I switched gamer tags a lot back in the console day, like on Xbox and COD. I would switch it
Gotcha.
all the time.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you ever play any of the Battlefield series? Did you like that?
I played a lot of Battlefield on console with my brother's brother, like the other brother of the brother.
Okay.
Because I would always like go and hang out with them after work on summer nights and stuff. Because we would work at this it's a mill, a veneer mill together. We were all on third shift, which is like the night shift.
Got you. Now you mentioned a small town. I happen to be able to associate with that because I grew up in a very very small town. I'm from Mississippi, so
Yeah.
it's pretty rural here and very small. So I can associate with that. On Friday nights we basically just kind of didn't have anything to do but drive around the square because there was nothing to do.
Yep.
Like there was
Yep.
absolutely nothing to do. So I'm assuming that, it was a similar thing when you were in high school
Very,
and
very
growing up.
similar.
You
Very, very
just
similar.
it's just nothing to do. So,
Whatever you
but
could find.
yeah, which was most of the time trouble. But
Yeah, 90% of the time.
so you're all right. So you have a team on your Twitch. It's called Nemesis. Tell us about Nemesis.
Nemesis is a organization. They have 23,000 followers on Twitter, so they're a pretty decently sized org. Not like compared to like CLG or like TSM or any of those guys, it's not very big. But like everybody I've met in Nemesis is pretty much down to earth. Like they will tell you straight up, like, "Hey, hope you're having a good day." And like if they don't like, well, I haven't met anybody that didn't like me, or I haven't met anybody I didn't like, so I don't really have anything bad to say about that. But Nemesis has a lot of streamers, and they also have some comp teams like Smite, CS:GO. They have an Apex team at the moment. I'm not sure what the plan is with that because Apex is in a weird spot for comp. But
Well,
like
hopefully
I said,
season 2 will fix that.
yeah, hopefully Apex season 2 coming soon, July 2nd.
Man, a couple more
Very, very
days. I'm ready for
But
it.
their main priority to me, if you were to ask me this, is their content creators. Like they're all about who they bring. Like they're very selective about the people they invite to be a streamer for Nemesis. So they do a pretty extensive check on who applies, and then they look into them, see what kind of content they create, what kind of personality they have, how they interact with their viewers, their
Hmm.
community, and that's like the main priority. Like I think you have to have a sub button, so that's like you can't just be a brand new streamer right out the gate, no
Right.
followers, nothing. But
So you have to at least be affiliate.
yeah, and they look to see like if you put work into your stream. Because before I met them, my quality wasn't as good as it is now, but they really gave me a reason to increase my quality, like getting a studio light set up, getting all the overlays set up, the transitions, the logos, everything in there, to give someone an opportunity to be like, oh wow, this guy has a really nice stream. He definitely put some effort into it.
Yep.
And that's one of the things they key on is who they invite is if they have a good work ethic into their stream and they're very very good personality wise.
Got you. Now I'm looking at your at your video here and stuff. I'm kind of curious. What is that? Is that a snowboard in the back corner? What is that in the back corner?
That is a snowboard, indeed.
It is a snowboard. Okay,
It
good
is
deal.
indeed. I do snowboard quite a bit during the winter, of course. And there's a lot of snow in Wisconsin, so there's a lot of opportunity.
To do that, good deal.
Oh, yeah.
And also I've seen you. You know, I've been watching your stream for a while, and I think the first time I ever saw you, I was watching Alinity, and you were playing with Alinity, and that's what turned me on to you and started watching you. So what? And I've noticed that you vape. So tell us about. You know, I gotta ask because I'm a vape myself. What I got to know about your mod. Tell me about your mod and your tank and what kind of juice you like.
So this is the Vopo Drag 2. I have a, let me see if you guys can see it. I got a DBZ vinyl on it. What's one of
That's
my
pretty
favorite
cool.
shows
I like it.
growing up. DBZ was a huge thing that I would like to watch on Toonami and stuff. But yeah, it's a Vopo Drag 2. I like more of like a blueberry kind of thing. Right now, I have Barnyard Berry in there, but I like Blue Raz by Aqua. I would love to try a cotton candy, but I'm a very more like a fruity side of it.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
And the reason I started vaping was so I didn't continue chewing snuff or tobacco, which was a big thing in my hometown, which is not a good thing. I'd rather do this than ruin my gums.
Than that. Well, in this same situation here, I was a smoker, and so I went to vaping probably about 7 years ago. I'd say pretty close to that, and I haven't smoked a cigarette since. So that's good. That's good. I think vaping is really a much better alternative, and I really hope our government gets behind it and pushes it to help people stop smoking. So it's I think it's a lot healthier. It may not be. I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm just saying it's healthier than smoking.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
It's completely different. It's
yeah,
so
exactly.
Much better for you versus
Exactly.
a cigarette.
And plus, it's easier to wean yourself off the nicotine too. So I know a lot of people that have gone down to 3 and even 0 nic. So that's a good thing. So you excited about season 2 in Apex?
Very much so. Very much so. Because like Apex is such a good game. Like the base of it, the movement of it, the gun speed or the gun game, everything about it is just, it's a great game just on its own. They just need to add like that factor that keeps it going upward. Because like after the first month, it kind of dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't take that long to get to like level 100 in the battle pass, which they came out with a month after, I think it was. That didn't take very long to get max level on that and get all the goods from it. So they need to add an aspect to it that keeps people wanting to play. Like Counter-Strike is the great example that I use because Counter-Strike has been out forever. Like I started playing CS:GO when I was a freshman in college, and it is still one of the biggest games out there because their competitive scene just keeps going, and no one ever gets sick of it because it's always changing. The meta is always something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why people keep playing it, because they're always looking to keep getting better, find something else that's going to keep pushing them to the next level. And that's why everyone still plays that to this day. For a lot of people. And
I agree with that 100%. And, I wish they would put out more content a little bit more often than, 4 months that they're doing this right now with the seasons?
Yeah, I think it's just, like right now, I've talked about this on the podcast a couple of times with my other homies in the podcast, and the way gaming is right now with like Fortnite is a complete different topic. Like Fortnite changed the gaming meta for probably ever, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fortnite had so many issues with people like wanting changes to it to keep it going, to keep it alive. So like they're always making stuff. They're always changing stuff like every month, probably something new.
Yeah.
And that's pushing all these other games to do the same. Otherwise, their game is gonna die.
Yep, I agree. Now you mentioned podcasts. You do a podcast with people as well?
Yep. So 2 of the guys that I played on the CS:GO team with for I don't know how many years it was, 2 years I think we played together, maybe more. We had always kind of envisioned having a podcast, but we never really had the moment, like the right time to do it. And now with everything happening, Jack was one of the guys, and Brian's the other guy, 9X and Dad Toast. Jack's having a kid. They're kind of both in like a set spot where they're not really moving around. They're not changing. And I have like all the time in the world. So like right now seemed like a good time to try it out. And we have recorded 6 podcasts so far. And they're all pretty much gaming related. That's called, do you mind if I plug
No, please. Go ahead.
Anarchy Gaming Podcast. We are on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. if anybody listening wants to get a hold of that, I don't know if you're gonna put like any links in the channel
Sure,
or
sure.
whatever.
We can. Well, if I tell you what, if you'll include it in your bio for anything that you want, we'll include that because I'll do a short write up, for you, and then
Nice.
just let them kind of click on the video and watch from there. But now, just out of curiosity, so I thought about this myself, and I'm curious, about the podcast. Have you ever thought about like something similar on Twitch, like instead of just gaming, you do like a Discord call and just sit there and chat and talk, between friends about different subjects. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, we actually thought about that with like the podcast is really new to us still, so we really haven't figured out what we want to do with it and like our end game, like what our plans are for it. But like that was a couple things people brought up in like my streams and stuff was like, why don't you guys record the podcast live? Like, why don't you do it while you're streaming? And the only reason we haven't yet is because we don't all have like a proper setup for all three of us to be in the same like image. Like we'd have to get a panel or something we'd have made, which obviously that's not that big deal, but
Well,
we'd
you
have
could
to get that set up pretty
you
soon.
could use you could use Discord and do a Discord call with the camera, like what we're doing.
Yeah.
Or GoToMeeting, I think is another one that's more kind of business oriented, but it'll work the same way. And
Yep.
then you could use OBS to record it or to stream it live. I don't. So do y'all record it or do you stream it live?
Yeah, we record it like we always stream or record it on Mondays, and usually if I do stream, it'll be just like a little 2 to 3 hour stream, and then I'll be like, all right, guys, got to go record the podcast. Much love, and I'll see you next time, kind of thing.
Got you.
And that's kind of like where the people would be like, well, why don't you just do it live? I'm just like, well, that's kind of not our point right now, but maybe in the future, kind of thing.
Got you. Got you. Okay.
But
So let's go back to Twitch. Let's talk about now. How long have you been streaming?
I think my account has been live, or like I've been streaming for roughly 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like fully streaming. It's two for sure, like live stream time, like every other day or every day kind of thing. I never
Gotcha.
really had a good schedule before, and that was one reason why I couldn't really get
So
a
you
good
streamed when you
growth.
could, early days, obviously.
Yeah, more or less, because I want to say I was a sophomore or junior in college when I really started streaming, or trying to, I guess I should say.
Got you.
And I had school. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I guess that's one thing. Right now, the only reason I am here likely is because I am a single man.
Right.
So
Got you.
a door
Yeah.
closed and another one open, kind of thing.
That's right. That's right. Now and that kind of makes me want to ask you another question. So, is it hard being a gamer and a streamer on a relationship? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not for everybody. Like, if you have a gamer girlfriend or a gamer boyfriend kind of thing, or like they're always trying to game too,
Right.
and you gotta have that time set aside for each other to like game at the same time, but like doing your own thing, like in a different room or whatever. But yeah, if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend who is
Not
very
a gamer.
attentive,
Mhm.
yeah, and they like don't see that gaming is like a hobby and just kind of like something that you waste your time on, it's definitely not very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, like my ex didn't really like gaming at all. Like we would have some arguments about it, but
Got you. Well,
we did what we could.
I've been there. I've been down that road. So, so how long did you stream? How long did it take you to make affiliate?
Um, if it was 3 years, then it was a year, cause I just got a 24-month sub for my first sub ever, like a couple days ago or yesterday.
Good deal, dude.
So probably a year from when I started streaming, I think is what I would go with.
That's excellent. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
if I were to take a guess.
So, in the early days of streaming, I'm going to ask you some of the same questions you've probably seen me ask other people, but
Mhm.
it's one of the things that I struggle with as a streamer. And I'm new to streaming, so you know, right now I think on a good day I've got 7 or 8 viewers. You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
most days it's 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, and then there's some days when you got nobody. So what's it feel like when you're streaming, to nobody? Have you had that experience? I mean, what's it?
Oh yeah, a
And
long time of that.
and how did you
Definitely.
deal with it? Did you just play the game? I mean, like,
I mean, if I were to give that kind of advice to like if someone came into the stream and asked like, all right, do you have any tips for like a new streamer? Like, what do I do to get more people? What should I be trying to do to get more or gain more followers? And my main answer to any of that is to make sure you're streaming for the right reason.
Right. Got you.
And I would probably say that's the only reason I'm here now. Like I probably have streamed to less than 5 viewers 85% of the time, 95% of the time, pretty high numbers. Like I've only really started growing the last 4 months because I put all the time into the stream and all the money in and effort into it to make it have the best chance of growing. I did get lucky with some of the people I've made connections with the last few months, but I still think if you put enough time in and you don't get discouraged by that because you really, I mean, I wouldn't say you shouldn't, but if you're streaming because you love the game, you like to talk to people, you should be able to do it no matter what. Like,
Right.
obviously, you're gonna have days where you're just like, man, I am not feeling it, and that's
Yeah.
just how it is anyway. Like, you could go to work and just be like, I'm not feeling it. I don't want to talk to any of my coworkers right now. It's just that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with streaming. That's
Yeah.
just the way
It's just
being-
it's just a yeah. It's just everybody goes through those days. Yeah. That's
Exactly.
right. That's right. So basically, what I got from that is if you're coming into streaming to try to become big and make money, then you're kind of doing it for the wrong reasons. And
If your
and you
main
just
goal is to come into the Twitch scene and try to blow up right away and have a bunch of dough and all these followers, people hitting you up all the time.
it's
You're
not
gonna
going to
fail.
happen. Yep. Yep. You're going to get discouraged. It's just going to be tough.
Unless your
Uh,
dad is ninja, really big important person, you're gonna have a problem.
So, all right. Speaking of some, ninja and stuff. So, have you ever had any big streamers host you or raid you?
Well, actually, I wouldn't say the only biggest one, but the biggest one was Alinity because I just got connected with her not that long ago, and I've been doing a lot of 24-hour streams, and I was playing with her one day, and she's like, "Everybody, go hit up Pip. He's doing his 24-hour stream. Drop him some love." So that's 100% the biggest host I've ever gotten. I have gotten to get a couple hosts from like Noco, which is an Apex Pro.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who else? There's definitely a few in there, but none like not massive ones. Not like
Yeah.
any Shroud or Dizzy kind of thing. where it's
Right.
like
Right. Right.
10,000 people, 5,000. Alinity's was a really big one. It was like 3,000, but still, it was.
Yeah,
like
Alinity,
that.
I'm pretty impressed. Alinity keeps 2,000, 3,000 viewers when she's on. That's
Oh, yeah.
pretty impressive. So
Yeah, she's
um,
definitely a charismatic person, so it's pretty easy to watch.
that's a fact. That's true. That's true. And she's been streaming for a while too. So, but
Yeah.
that's how watching her is how I like I said, how I discovered you, and I was like, this dude's good, and I started watching you and really enjoyed your stream and the interaction that you have. So that's
thank
that's
you.
pretty fantastic, man. That was the end of our first segment with Pippen Prime. Check back next week, and we'll have our second and final segment. And then the third week, we will release the video in its entirety, or the interview in its entirety. So check back with us. I look forward to seeing you. Pippen, that was a great interview. Thank you very much, brother.